You are listening to the Overcome Pornography for Good podcast, episode 197. Stop fearing feelings. Welcome to the Overcome Pornography for Good podcast, where we take a research-based, trauma-informed, and results-focused approach to quitting porn. This approach has been revolutionary and changed thousands and thousands of lives. I'm your host, Sarah Brewer. Hey everyone, welcome to today's podcast episode. Man, we're almost at 200 episodes. That is pretty wild. Today I'm sharing with you a replay, how to stop fearing your feelings. It's really, really good. And I wanted to do another episode on mindfulness/feelings. And I just think that the basics that I teach here, are really life-changing. So I want to offer this as a replay this week. We currently have some spots for one-on-one coaching open. And so if you want to join our one-on-one program and get some individual coaching, please reach out to us, support@sarahbrewer.com, and we can give you the details on that. If you're on my email list, you should be getting emails with information on that and how to apply for that if you're interested. If you're not on my email list yet, get on it. Get on it. We send tons of good stuff over all the time, and then you're always up to date on when we have spots open for one-on-one coaching or when our free events are. All right, you guys, have a great week and please enjoy and really soak in this episode on how to stop fearing feelings. This is one of the most important things you can learn that will totally change your life if you're able to apply it. So today, the topic is how to stop fearing your feelings. And I really want to talk specifically on how to feel your feelings, how to feel your feelings. Now, when I first started getting into life coaching, I've told you guys that it was completely life-changing. And I would listen to these podcast episodes of people who are life coaches, who I really look up to, Jody Moore, Brooke Castillo. And I would listen to these episodes and I would be driving somewhere and my mind would just be blown every single day. Like, what? That makes so much sense. Wow, I was like, light bulb, light bulb, light bulb. And the two biggest concepts that I learned through life coaching that completely changed my life. The first one is that your thoughts cause your feelings. Okay. And I feel bad because I'm just going to kind of skip over this. And I've dived into this in my podcast before in the episode Thoughts versus Facts, and it comes up often, but just this idea that your thoughts cause your feelings, right? I used to think that I felt really bad about myself and felt really bad about my life because I wasn't doing enough, right? That was my big thing. I'm not doing enough. I'm not doing enough. I feel bad because I'm not doing enough. And if I could just do more, I would feel better. If I could just accomplish more, I'd feel better. And then I learned and I saw it so clearly that I don't feel bad because I'm not doing enough. I feel bad because of what I'm thinking. Always, every single emotion that I have comes from my thoughts. That was so eye-opening. And like I said, we're not going to dive into that here, even though I could, talk about it forever and how important it is and what a cool concept it is and how it's, bettered my life, every single aspect, spiritually, mentally, physically, but I'm not going to dive into that right now. So that's number one. That's the first big concept that changed my life, is that your thoughts cause your feelings. And the second is how to feel your feelings. How to feel your feelings. And why this was so life-changing for me is because I used to be very afraid of feelings, especially big feelings, right? And I would do anything to avoid negative feelings. I would do anything to avoid not feeling good enough. And that's where my perfection tendencies came in. And that's when I spent way too much time and energy trying to be perfect and trying to do it right because I didn't want to feel inadequate, or I would avoid being disliked. I didn't want to feel that feeling of being disliked. So it caused me to be a people pleaser and to not really live my life in the way that I really wanted to, and not to go after things that I really wanted to because I was afraid of that feeling. And you know what I used to say? Maybe some of you relate to this, but people would ask me, like, what are you the most afraid of? And my answer was always failure. What is your biggest fear? And I would always say failure. And I mean, that's a whole other topic for another time. But that fear of failure caused me to live my life smaller than I could have. and it wasn't helpful. Like I almost thought it was like kind of a cool thing. Yeah, I'm not afraid of anything but failure. I just want to succeed in my life. Oh, but looking back, I just get icky feelings. Like I am so not afraid of failure now, and my life is so much better. So I was always just afraid of emotions. I was afraid of feeling emotions. And this actually came up. I recently did an interview for Reach 10, which is a local nonprofit about pornography. And the interviewer asked me, they said, well, what about when you're really afraid of feeling emotions? Like some emotions are scary and people say, I'm afraid of feeling emotions. And so that's what I want to address today. Because you guys know, I talk about often in the podcast that the only reason that you view pornography is because you're not willing to feel an emotion. And so I hope we're starting to understand that concept. But what might be coming up for you is like, okay, yeah, I'm not willing to feel this emotion and I don't know how to be willing to feel this emotion. And I'm still afraid of feeling this emotion, or whether that's an emotion or an urge or the desire to view pornography. Okay, so that's what I want to dive into today. And here's the thing. Emotions are not dangerous or harmful. Talked about this in depth in episode 4, Stop Fearing Your Urges, which is similar. Emotions and urges, remember an urge is just like that desire to go look at pornography, that feeling, that urge to go and look at porn. Emotions, whether that be loneliness, stress, shame, whatever, emotions are not dangerous or harmful. An emotion is just a vibration in your body. So if I was going to define an emotion, the first thing that comes to mind, this is the first thing I was taught, and it was really drilled into me in all my training, is that an emotion is just a vibration in your body. So I want you to think about this. Think about different vibrations that you have in your body when you have different emotions. Think about the vibration in your body when you feel happy. Now, you all will describe it a little bit different, but I might describe that vibration as light and bouncy. Okay, think about the vibration in your body when you feel the emotion of sadness. That emotion, that vibration might feel heavy and deep. Okay, that's all an emotion is a vibration in your body. Bad things do not happen when we feel these vibrations. Okay, these vibrations are not going to hurt us, and nothing bad is going to happen to us when we feel these vibrations. Bad things tend to happen when we resist these vibrations. Okay, when we resist them, which means that we're pushing them away or we're trying not to feel them. It's like holding that beach ball underwater. When we're trying to get rid of the feeling, when we're trying to resist them, when we don't feel them, it's like holding that beach ball under water. What happens when you hold a beach ball under water? It just wants to pop up, and it just always pops up and explodes a little bit. That's what happens when we resist our vibrations, when we resist our feelings, not when we feel our feelings. When we resist it, when we hold it under the water, that's when we buffer. Remember, buffer means that's when we do an activity to escape that emotion. That's when we look at pornography. Pornography is a buffer. That's when we people please, and when we stop living authentically is when we're resisting these vibrations. That's when we do anything to escape these emotions. The emotions become a little bit scary, or they can have negative effects when we're resisting them, not when we're just feeling them. So the question that comes up next is how? How can we just feel that feeling? All right, we know that holding the beach ball under the water, holding our emotions under the water, resisting them isn't working. So how do we just feel them? These are the 7 steps that I teach my clients on how to feel a feeling. Okay, so listen up. Step number 1 to feeling a feeling is name it. You have to give it a name to bring it awareness into your body. Okay, so one word. What would you call this emotion? Is it disappointed? Is it self-loathing? Is it loneliness? Is it stress? Is it blame? Is it pity? Okay, name it one word. For this example, I'll say disappointed. Step number 2 is find it in your body. Find it in your body. So go into your body and find it. And we've talked about this in the podcast before. So disappointed, where do you feel disappointed in your body? For this example, let's say I feel disappointed in my throat and in my chest. Okay, so we named it and we found it in our body. Step number 3 is relax into it. So often when we have negative emotion that we're resisting, your hands are clenched and your shoulders are up and your body just looks tense. If your body is looking tense and if you're noticing tenseness or clenching, your jaw clenching, that's a sign that you're resisting this emotion. So step number 3 is relax into it. Relax your shoulders, relax your jaw, relax your fists, relax into this feeling of disappointed in your throat and in your chest. Step number 4 is ask yourself, what does this feel like? How would I describe this feeling with adjectives? Okay. Disappointed in my throat and chest. Maybe I'll use the words, I'm feeling it. What does this feel like? It feels heavy and it feels tight. Okay. Step number 5 is picture it. What does it look like? If you were to give this feeling a color, what color would you give it? Disappointed. Maybe I'll say it's gray. Okay. What else? What else does it look like? Does it look like a rock? Does it look like a cloud? Does it look goopy? Does it look misty? Just try to picture it. I know it sounds a little bit funny, but it really helps you get into your body and become really aware of this feeling in your body. So if you were to picture it, what would it look like? Okay. And then step number 6 is repeat to yourself, this is all coming from sentences in my brain. This is coming from sentences in my brain. Now, you don't have to go and change those sentences to try to feel better yet. But the reason that I'm feeling this disappointment is coming from a sentence in my brain. That's it. That's all it's coming from. It's not coming from any facts outside of you. It's not coming from what someone said or what someone did. It's coming because of a sentence in your brain. And then step number 7 is allow it until it subsides. I get a question often, okay, well, how long do I do this for? And my answer is always just do it until it goes away. And that might be a long time. And it might be a day. It might be a couple days. It might just be a few minutes. It might be an hour. I don't know. The idea here is allow it to be there until it subsides. And that doesn't mean that you just have to sit in your room going through these 7 steps for hours and hours and hours. No, you can do it the first couple times, get the hang of it, and then just allow it to be there with you while you're going throughout your day. So, just kind of this idea, this is disappointment. I'm feeling it in my throat and my chest. It feels heavy and tight. I'm relaxing into it. It looks like a gray rock that's just sitting in my chest. And this is just following me around today. So this is with me today as I'm doing my work. This is with me today as I'm doing the dishes. Okay. And you allow it to be there until it goes away. All right. So again, those are the 7 steps. Let me say them again. Step number 1 is name it. Step number 2 is find it in your body. Step number 3 is relax into it. Step number 4 is ask yourself, what does this feel like? Step number 5 is picture it. What does this look like? Step number 6 is repeat to yourself, this is coming from sentences in my brain. And step number 7 is allow it until it subsides. Okay, and I can imagine some of you saying, okay, yeah, but what if it gets to be too much? What if this feeling just gets to be too much and I just can't handle it anymore? And whenever clients come and say that to me, I always take them through this exercise pretending that I am an alien. So if this is you and you're like, okay, but this emotion, what if this gets to be too much? I want you to pretend that I'm an alien and I've never felt an emotion before. I've never felt an emotion before. And you're telling me about this goal that you have to quit viewing pornography. But this emotion, this feeling, loneliness, let's say it's loneliness, keeps coming up and keeps leading you to view pornography. And so I'm like, oh, that's so fascinating. What's loneliness? What is this thing that's keeping you from reaching your goals? Why is loneliness keeping you from quitting pornography? You're like, well, it's a feeling. And me, the alien, I'm like, okay, well, what is a feeling? You say, well, I feel this vibration in my chest and it feels horrible. And I'm like, there's something in your chest? And you say, no, there's nothing in my chest. It just feels bad. It just feels heavy and sharp. And me, the alien, I'm like, there's something sharp in your chest? You say, no, there's nothing sharp in my chest. It just feels that way. Like, okay, tell me more. I'm trying to understand, what is it about this that's making you go and view pornography when you're telling me that you don't want to view pornography? You say, well, it makes it kind of hard to breathe. Like loneliness makes you stop breathing. You're like, no, emotions don't do that. It just makes it hard to breathe. It just makes it feel kind of hard to breathe. I can breathe okay. Like, okay, you can breathe okay, and nothing is actually hurting you. Nothing is really sharp, pointing sharp through your chest. You're like, no. So if I understand right, this emotion that is too much, it's something that feels heavy, but it isn't heavy. And it's something that feels sharp, but it isn't actually sharp. And it's something that makes it feel hard to breathe, but you can actually breathe just fine. And that's what's keeping you viewing pornography, right? When we can really take these emotions and, strip them down to their core, what they really are, what this vibration in your body really is, we can start to see how manageable they are and how they really are never too much. They are never too much because we can sit with a little bit of sharp pain in our chest. Doesn't feel good. It's not fun, but it's also not dangerous. We can sit with a little heaviness in our chest. Absolutely, we can do that. We can sit with any of these vibrations in our body. And that doesn't mean that it's like easy or really fun, but it's also never something that you need to get rid of. All right. And this is also just a skill, something that we need to practice and learn. And I promise you, the more that you practice these 7 steps and the more that you practice sitting with these emotions and these feelings, the better you get at it. And it will become so much easier to quit viewing pornography. So much easier to quit viewing pornography. I had a client who reached out to me this month and he's made some amazing strides in his porn habit. I mean, I think this whole month he hasn't had any slip-ups. And what he said is, this has been one of the hardest months of my life because of certain things that have happened that are triggering emotions, right? He's feeling a lot of sadness and some grief of some stuff that happened in his life. But he's been able to feel those feelings instead of run away from them with pornography. And he was telling me just how he can't believe how empowered he feels and how much more equipped he feels to handle anything that life throws at him. This is really like why this is so mind-blowing is that this skill, you guys, is the key to living a really amazing life and being able to accomplish anything that you want to accomplish. The only thing that keeps you from accomplishing things is your unwillingness to feel emotions. Maybe you're unwilling to feel failure, or you're unwilling to feel embarrassed. You're unwilling to go for things because you don't want to feel rejected, right? How many of us keep ourselves from asking that person out because we don't want to feel the feeling of rejected? But what if feeling rejected wasn't a problem and it was really simple and you were really good at feeling it? You could do so many things. You could ask out that girl. You could ask out that guy. You could go after whatever it is that you want to go after in your life if you're willing to feel any emotions in your life. And you could quit pornography if you're willing to feel the emotions that come up that make you want to escape and run away from those emotions. Okay. All right, you guys, that's my message for you today. Let's stop fearing our feelings. Okay. Let's dive into them, figure out what they really are, breathe into them, and really practice this skill. You'll be amazed at what you can do. You'll be amazed at what you can do once you learn this skill. All right, you guys, talk to you next week. Bye-bye. I want to invite you to come and listen to my free class, How to Overcome Pornography for Good Without Using Willpower. We talk about how to stop giving into urges without pure willpower or relying on phone filters so that you can actually stop wanting pornography. We talk about how to stop giving up after a few weeks or months. And spoiler alert, the answer isn't have more willpower. And then lastly, we talk about how to make a life without porn easily sustainable and permanent. If you're trying to quit porn, this class is a game changer. So you can go and sign up at sarahbrewer.com/masterclass, and it is totally free.